A quorum being present, I am going to call this public hearing to order. I'd like to take a roll call vote of those present from the school committee. And I guess I'll just ask for Carrie Ann,
Yes.
Bonnie Silvers,
Yes.
Dennis Sears,
Yes.
Jeffrey Blaugrund,
Present.
Hannah Bracken,
Yes.
let's see, Danelle Kelly,
Yep. Here.
Arthur Pataki,
Yes.
and let's see, I think I've called everybody except for myself. Jane Burke is here. We do not have John Bruno or Janice Melendez Delaney at this point. I'd like to welcome everyone to this public hearing. If you wish to provide comments, those of you from the public, please state your name, your residence, before you speak. I will be asking for people speaking in favor first, speaking opposed second, anyone speaking for neither for or against, and then we'll have school committee comments and questions. Looking forward to sharing this information with the public. And I would like to turn the presentation over to our superintendent, Beth Regul-Bujold.
Okay, thank you. So, Mr. Thompson, do you want to share the PowerPoint? So because I'm so soft-spoken, just make sure that you can hear me. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Wonderful. Okay. So welcome, everyone. We are, believe it or not, talking about the FY22 budget, the 2021-2022 school year. And we're going to be looking at our operating, transportation, and capital budgets. Next slide. Oh, me, I'm doing it. Never mind. Look at me. Never mind. I've got all the power right here. So, of course, we always start with our guiding vision, and this is what we call our North Star and what we align our entire budget proposal and actually all the work that we do each and every day. We try to bring it back to this community developed vision and do what's best for everyone, including most importantly, our students. So we have a bunch of guiding principles that we use each and every day to do this work. As we started with, it's about being reflective of our vision. It's also based on our district strategy for continuous improvement. We're always committed to educational excellence. That's our #1 priority. We're super focused on making sure that our assessments are manageable to our member towns. It's incredibly important. We provide effective programming, staffing levels, and it's all about continuing to improve in the most cost-effective manner. We really strive to communicate with all stakeholders as often as possible. We hope to allocate our resources strategically and aligned across the entire school system. We try to be proactive as opposed to being reactive, and we make decisions and recommendations always based on what's best for our students. So I don't expect anybody to read this. I was going to tell you there's a quiz, but there's not. This is just to remind everybody that our strategy for continuous improvement, or what some people might call a district improvement plan, can be found on the website, and it has links to under each initiative, what our action steps are and how we are progressing towards each one of these. But again, this is developed from our vision, and it helps us set our goals and priorities as we move through each year. So the state budget process is underway and has a significant number of steps, but with our regional agreement, we have to work off of that very first stage, which is the governor's budget, because we need to present to our communities 45 days before their first town meeting. So the best information that we have to date right now is the governor's budget. You can see there is 1, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 more steps to come. But that's not what we have available to us right now. So we're giving you our best guess as to what, a little bit better than a guess, but as what it's going to look like and how we plan to allocate those funds and resources to provide excellence in education going forward for next year. So we start with this process back in October, and we have, developed our action plan after we review our district's strategy for continuous improvement. We work with our finance committee, our finance subcommittee of the school committee. We work with district administration and all down to faculty and staff. We have budget meetings, we do planning, we think about programming, we're looking at the data, and we have lots and lots of meetings and times to collaborate. And in these last few months, we've been coming together to put them all together and develop priorities and think about what are our next steps to move our programs along. So as you can see, this goes on all the way through till the end of July, June, July, because frankly, the state hasn't been settling their budgets until well after the fiscal year is supposed to close. So we're constantly reevaluating, prioritizing, changing, adjusting as we move through the process. So nothing's completely set in stone, and know that we're revisiting things all the way through the process. Right now, you can see we've highlighted that we're at the public hearing phase, which again has to be 45 days before the first town meeting. And if and when the school committee votes to approve this proposal next week at their meeting, we will send the approved budget to the member towns for their town warrants and attend the town meetings. And if we get 4 of the 5 towns to approve, we will have a budget, and then the assessments will be formally sent to the towns for the next school year. So for FY22, our preliminary budget proposal is $17,794,556. That is a $261,459 increase, or 1.49%. Our operating budget increase is 1.66%. Our capital is down slightly because of other funding. We'll talk about that in more detail at minus 1.81%. And our debt is heading down because we're paying down on our roof and boiler project. So it's 2.85% on our pay down. I also don't expect you to be able to read that, but it's this information also can be found on the website where it is readable. But I wanted to show that we originally started with, I can't even read it myself, which is good news, over $500,000 in projects that we aspire to do. But for our capital budget, we are down to our $352,000, which is right around where we've been for the last several years. The other work we're going to do that's proposed in FY22, but we're going to fund it with other funds, mostly grant funds, which we'll talk about later. So we're going to jump right into it with capital. So our capital plans, as you can see, we had really a different number. It looks like 480,500. What was originally brought to Buildings, Grounds, and the Technology Subcommittee. Oh, what happened?
Sorry.
There you go.
Oh dear.
I wanted to read it.
Yeah. So we originally brought about $481,000 worth of projects, and anything that comes to the capital budget are usually items that cost $10,000 or more. Our decision, as we just spoke about, was to keep the capital budget amount at around $352,000 this year. The major project that we are focused on, after we have gone through a system evaluation for our HVAC and balanced all of our systems, and as part of, like everyone did through the process of COVID, to make sure our buildings are safe and in healthy condition for our faculty, staff, and students, we are instituting a coil replacement plan, which is my words, no one else's, but for parts of the HVAC system that have begun to reach the end of their useful life. We are estimating that the total project is going to be $1.6 million, including design costs, but it can be done in phases. So right now, with a combination at a minimum of budgetary funds from this year and grant funds for this year and next year, we are estimating at least being able to do $700,000 worth of this work, or just under 50% of the project, without bringing this project to the member towns to borrow. So I think that is really excellent news for everybody, and because we already have an outstanding fund for both the roof and boiler project. Again, being proactive, taking care of our buildings and getting it done within the budget is really great. So as we talked about, overall, the proposed budget is slightly under 1.81% decrease to capital expenditures in that particular budget. Here's the debt schedule, just a visual for everybody. We are in our third year of principal and interest payments coming up. I think I counted before, it was either 12 or 13 years, 12 years, and one of just interest on this project. So we're starting to make our way down the chart. We like it much better when it's closer to the yellow's closer to the bottom, but we're doing, again, a very good thing by taking care of the roof and boilers in this district. This shows you the progression of the budget, just in a different visual. So let's talk about the changes in enrollment, which caused a change in the share per member town as we start to calculate the formula for how we build our assessments. So we have, interestingly, between FY21 and FY22, we have 670 students in total, but where they're located changed. So the shifts, you can see we are down 1 student in Alford, we are up 8 students in Egremont, we are up 5 students in Monterey, we are down 22 students in New Marlboro, and we're up 10 students in Sheffield. Over to the far right, you can see that these changes in enrollment or location cause a change in everybody's share. So Alford's share has gone down by 0.08%. Egremont's share went up 1.17%. Monterey's share went up 0.75%. New Marlboro's share down -3.4%. And Sheffield's share went up 1.55%. So what does that change do to your assessment contribution, another factor in the formula? So Alford went from a 3.26% share of the assessment contribution to a -0.11%. And you can read all the way down. Egremont's 0.38%, Monterey 0.2%, New Marlboro's share assessment change was -1.25%, and Sheffield was 0.55%. You'll notice, because of the work that we did modifying the funding formula, that even though some of these changes were very steep in some towns, that by doing what we did on creating the averages, the changes have been mitigated, I would think, quite a bit. as a result. So what do we have going on in this budget? So first and foremost, we've maintained our commitment to be as effective and efficient with our resources and aligning those resources with student need while doing our best to keep our assessments to the towns manageable. And I really think I'm very proud of the work that we've done to do that. Our overall increase to the budget at 1.49% or $261,459. Since 2017, the district overall budget increases on average have been around 1.73%. So we've been under 2% since 2017. What else is built into this budget? We're very excited because this budget proposal includes reinstituting the late buses for next year. We know and we're very concerned about making sure that we provide as many opportunities as possible for our students, being and hoping against all hope and that everybody will be back in full-time in person next year. And we want to provide as many opportunities for after-school programming and supports. And we think reinstituting the late buses, it will be instrumental in that. This also includes funding for our new math program at the elementary and middle school levels, if we should decide to make that change, which I think is probably inevitable at some point. But the funding is there as our group works through making that very important decision for this district. Another area that we have been thinking about and looking at for a long time is a revisioning of the new Marlboro Central School. And we're calling this, we don't know what it's exactly going to look like, but we're thinking about maybe the opportunity to have it be an early childhood center or school. And it would be grades pre-K to 3. And it's really for a variety of reasons looking at the data. The numbers district-wide at this point do not support having 3 4th grade classrooms. And we also felt very strongly that there were too many transitions between at the elementary level. So by moving 4th grade over to Undermountain next fall, that gives students 2 years at the elementary level at Undermountain before moving to the middle school. This is by no means set in stone. This is something we want to examine based on the data that we've been looking at. And we are convening the early childhood task force, and we're going to examine all that data and research and think about this as sustainability and a huge opportunity for our community based on needs that we are seeing. So we're looking forward to doing that work right after we get through the budget process. So revenue, our Chapter 70 is $2,006,891. That's for 670 students at $30 per student. This year we had a whopping decrease of $30 because we're down 1 student according to DESE. So the regional transportation reimbursement rate, we're estimated to get just about $834,000 in eligible costs, which is an increase of $23,000. So even though our costs were higher, we also, that means get a little bit more money as a result. I'm not sure if that's a bonus, but we're going to go with it. And the revenue, our town assessments, super proud of this number. We have an increase of $792 or 0.01% as a revenue source. Our tuition other than school choice has an increase of about $108,000. We have quite a few tuition students from the Mount Washington community, so that is a very big increase in tuition. And our Medicaid reimbursement revenue, we're projecting a decrease just in eligible costs, so we're estimating about $70,000 in revenue for next year's budget. School choice, we are applying $600,000 of our expenditures to the school choice fund. We're estimating having approximately $700,000 balance in that school choice fund as a result of our net increase or decrease next year in that account. We're also proposing using $525,000 of our excess and deficiency funds as a revenue source. We do this every year in an effort to help suppress the operating assessments to the member towns. Our current E&D is in the process of being certified. Last year we took kind of a risk, and I appreciate the support of the school committee in letting me do so. We brought it down to just about 150,000 or under 1% after contributing 330,000 of what we had available to us to help with the assessments. And it was in hopes that we would be able to replenish, and we did just that. So it looks like we're going to be right around our 5% maximum at $850,000. We're not officially certified yet, but that's what we're anticipating. So out of that, we'll double what we had left over last time, and we will be able to contribute more in the range of what we usually contribute at 525,000, maybe even a little bit more, to aid the towns in their in keeping their assessments down. It's super important that we keep our E&D at a decent level because it's about financial and fiscal stability. And when you're looking to do things like bond for projects, you need to have your E&D levels are important, and your financial, your fiscal responsibility is something that they look at when we're keeping your bond rating. So we want that to be, in this direction. Expenditures, our bargaining agreements will expire on June 30th, 22. We negotiated a 1-year extension agreement across all units with a 2% COLA increase. We didn't feel like it was a good time to go out and negotiate and try to tie the towns to a financial picture that it seems very uncertain at this point due to the pandemic. So we all agreed that this would be a much better idea moving forward. It looks like due to our ability to return to in-person learning, attrition, retirements, reorganizations, the district will be down approximately 8 FTEs. So when I say this, I want to make sure that people understand we do not take this kind of thing lightly. We are doing this with an eye on efficiency, with an eye on student need. Every time someone retires or moves on, or there's a change, there's changes in people's certification, there's changes in all sorts of things. So we take that time to really rethink and reimagine what a position could look like, what an organization could look like, and that's what we're doing. A lot of these positions are not full-time positions, and FTE is a full-time equivalent, which is equivalent to one body. So there are a number of positions that might be a point something, half a position, or could be even a 0.2 of somebody's position. So just so you know, we're not at the point yet where we are specific. We know there's probably out of that, maybe 2 teachers type FTEs, some paraprofessional, it's across the board, some clerical, all sorts of positions are being revisited. But until we take the entire contractual obligations and look at certifications, we can't specifically identify what those people are, who those people are, and they have notification requirements, and we would be doing that first. So more to stay tuned. And like I said, remember, a lot of these are attrition, so we may just not be replacing things, and it might not necessarily be a reduction to someone currently in a spot. Our health insurance has just been performing really well in the joint purchase group. Again, I think this is the 2nd or 3rd year where there's a 0% increase in premium costs, and we've had a health insurance premium holiday. Last year, I believe we're having one this year, which is a benefit to both the employees and the district. because our progress has been so good. So good news, everybody, we are healthy. We are a healthy group. So here's the bottom line. Here's our proposed assessment. So the total, we have the total for all. You can see the assessment per town for FY22. I don't know how to, oh, that was not the right button. I thought I was gonna put my school button on, but I don't know what that is. So in the middle column, the FY22 assessments, you can see the total change in the assessment is $792 increase overall, or 0.01%, and the respective town amounts are listed there. Yeah, we're almost there, Chris. We're almost there. So I tried to put a list of just some of the things that, you know, what are we investing in as our communities? We're talking about early college opportunities, project-based learning, collaboration and curriculum writing time, pathways for students, early childhood programming, in-district inclusive programming for our students, social emotional skills and supports, skills that all students need based on what they're interested in and what they need. So technology, I almost skipped over, so sorry. And we're going to be one-to-one district-wide probably by next year. So we've made some massive accomplishments, and I think it's important for people to see the kinds of things that that they're investing in. And I think with our motto always being one of continuous improvement, we don't want to be the same, we want to be better. And we try to live by that every single day. So hopefully I didn't go too fast, and I can go back to answer any questions. Also out on the website is a lot of information, just in case. There's an entire budget, we like to call it the budget book, that is also out on the website, which is the public hearing informational booklet, which has more detail that people can read. And also, I think a helpful document is one that I prepared last week when I did the preliminary budget proposal overview, and that document is also out on the website. So I'm happy to take questions.
I'll just remind people that we're recording, so whatever you say will be recorded and be listened to by the public. I am going to try to keep to the order of recognition where we're looking for those speaking in favor. I'm going to then those opposing, those with no opinion, either for or against, and then school committee comments. And if you can find the raise hand function on your screen, so I can tell who is interested in being recognized in this first group of anyone wanting to speak in favor from the public. I think if you unmute yourself to say, I can't find the raised hand, that would be helpful, so we know that at least you know where it is and you're not raising your hand because you chose not to. Thank you, Chris, for putting it up that way. So I don't see anyone wishing to speak in favor. I'll ask anyone speaking in opposition to raise hands so I can see the order in which I to call on you. So seeing no hands, I'll go on to anyone wishing to speak neither for nor against. That would be just making a comment or possibly asking a question. Tara White, I recognize you. Can you say what town you're from?
This is Tara White. I'm from the town of New Marlboro. I looked through your budget presentation. I have a question. On page 10, you list the the Mount Washington students and the tuition amount that's paid there. Can you tell me how many students that is and what the tuition is that they pay?
So the tuition rate that has been set is $18,000 and the math is 6.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tara. Looking for other hands. Help me out. Do you see any more hands?
I don't.
All right, then move on to school committee members' comments or questions. Keeping in mind that we vote next week, and if anything needs clarifying, this would be a good time to do that. So I see Jeff Blagron's hand is up.
Thank you. I just want to say a comment. I've been in all these meetings in Finance Committee, and I want to thank Beth and the staff for the really thoughtful work that you have done throughout the early process. I know you still have work ahead of you. I really appreciate, given like the extraordinary year that not just the district is having, but the towns, and more importantly, that the families in these towns, being mindful of, keeping the operational budget, at a reasonable increase below, consistent with most inflationary measures, while still focusing on how do we really deliver for the kids in the district is tremendous. We've got a real challenge ahead of us in this next year in terms of social emotional learning, making sure that the kids are re-engaging in school, that they have activities that can make up for the loss of learning from this past year that has been extraordinary. And I think the staff has been tireless. I don't think people really realize how hard you guys are working, that it's not normal hours for the administrators. And I can't express my gratitude enough to you guys. In addition, Beth, your approach to the coil replacement is very appreciated, that we don't have to go out for a bond at this time, and breaking it down to its component parts and having a really good understanding of what must we do, and what can we do now, and what can we wait. And I think it's a very sober approach to it, and I just really appreciate how you guys are on top of it.
Thank you so much.
Dennis Sears.
I just kind of want to follow on Jeff's comments by saying that this represents an absolutely outstanding effort on the part of a lot of people, especially the administration and staff, during an unbelievably and ultimately totally unplanned and surprising year. And I can't do anything but take my hat off to thank them for all the work, as well as the additional members, some of my teammates from the school committee, as well as the general community that really pitched in and basically helped this whole thing happen. That this is the plan that was able to be developed in spite of everybody's opinion earlier on in the year that this is going to be a disaster. So thanks to all that pitched in to make that happen.
Thank you, Dennis. We'll move on to Bonnie Silvers.
Thank you. I really want to second both what Jeff and Dennis said, and to add just the fact that I'm saying the greater we, it was what Beth, you, the team, the principals, the team leaders did to make this a forward-looking budget, in spite of the fact it's like the crisis of the day. You kept to that North Star. And I think that really this shows up as a budget as though we were living in normal times, when you've had to face the fact that we're not. So mine is a thank you. And unless there's something, we haven't picked up on, I think this is just the right thing for our kids. And the fact that we've held on to our student body, that you're able to do this, really respecting what we've heard from all of the towns about the fiscal condition that they are in. I can only say thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Bonnie. Dennis, did you want to say something else, or your hand is just not down yet?
Down now.
All right, so anybody from any category who thinks they forgot to say something they wanted to say or ask something, please feel free to raise your hand. Is Martin?
Yeah.
Martin Mitzoff?
Yep, thank you. So I told Jeff I missed the opportunity to say it in public, but I want to say also, it's a very thoughtful, responsible effort. I know a tremendous amount of work went into this. And I think you've presented a very workable budget for our towns. So again, thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, your hand up, Carrie Ann?
Yep, I just have two quick questions. Great presentation, Beth. And will it be available online to see somewhere? And is there a place in the budget booklet that has the past few years budget comparison with this year?
It will have, I don't know if it has past, first of all, it is online under, I think I put right at the last page, under my Don't Be the Same, Be Better. It gives the link right where all the budget information is posted on our website. And it depends, in certain spots, there might be multiple years of information. Most of the time, for most people, they're only doing a comparison between last year and this year in the budget booklet. But we are happy to give you as many years as you'd like, if you want to, we'll get whatever you want.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Carrie Ann, with the assessments, it goes back to FY18 by towns.
It depends on the category. There's
Yeah.
different areas. In the budget book, I think, what page is that, Jane? Like, for instance,
That was 11.
page 11. So depending on what thing we're talking about, we might have given more years than just 1 or 2 fiscal years back.
May I just comment?
Thank you.
Yes, Bonnie?
But Carrie Ann, for your benefit there was a 5-town budget reassessment, to give it a lack of another word. So we just began calculating full years a year ago. So this is only the 3rd budget that has this new formula for calculating the budgets, assessments.
Thank you,
The
Bonnie.
3rd year, you said, Bonnie?
This is only the 3rd year that we're using the new formula, and you can go online and see what was done by that committee.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
Well, seeing no other hands raised, did you have anything else you would like to say, Beth?
No, I just, I've said it, I took the opportunity to say it last week in the overview meeting. I am grateful for great relationships with our communities. They come in and they meet with us regularly as part of my roundtable. I am happy to come. I know I'm making the trip to Alford on Monday night via Zoom for their budget presentation, but I'm happy to present or come to any meetings of the communities. And also I said, I have a great team that I don't do any of this without. So people work really hard, they think really big, and they care about kids. And I feel really lucky that we were able to do this. So it's great work. It's great work.
Well, it's a great pleasure to have such a productive public hearing, and I thank you all for coming. And I would like to close this public hearing, having heard all comments and seeing no other. Oh, Dennis.
Motion to adjourn.
Madam Chair, I was just raising my hand to, in lieu of no one from the public wanting to have any other time to speak, that we move to adjourn.
Oh, yeah. So we have Dennis moving to adjourn and Bonnie seconding. I'll take a roll call vote on that. Dennis Sears,
Aye.
Carrie Ann Petrick,
Yes.
Hannah Bracken,
Yes.
Janelle Jordan Kelly,
Yes.
Bonnie Silver.
Yes.
See, where are we? Arthur Bataki,
Yes.
Jane Burke, and who am I forgetting? Oh, Jeff Blaubron,
Yes.
head of the finance committee. He should have gotten a chance to go first. Thank you very much.
So we'll be back with 15.
We will be back in 15 minutes for the regular meeting.